bring it back. explain because it's a complex technology, but...
From the And the Groove Remains production team studios in the Netherlands. My name is 𝗵𝗲𝗄 and welcome to this live stream. My mission is not to sell you as many apps as I can. No, my mission is to help you with education of audio track collection management and conversion for DJs. So you save yourself some time for the fun and creative part of being a DJ. As each week, let me quickly introduce myself so you know who you are looking at. I am a 58-year-old dude from the Netherlands. I had my first DJ residency at the age of 15, which means this is over 40 years of DJ experience in the flesh. I am no longer an active DJ. I do a few gigs a year, but nothing even close to what it used to be. However, you may know me from a little tool that I created. And let me get the caption off. There you go. And that little tool is indeed the DJ conversion utility that allows you to convert between various DJ software, maintaining your cues, loops, and all that other good stuff, so you don't have to redo that all over again the moment you change DJ software. This is not the only app I created for DJs. I created tons of other apps, all aimed at making your life as a DJ a little bit easier when it comes to audio track collection management and conversion. Each Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time, and that is right now, I host this Ask Me Anything live stream where we talk about all things DJ that happened in the past week. I answer questions that I received from viewers and users of my tools during the week. And of course, you can ask me questions in the chat, and I will not try to only answer those questions, but where possible, I will also try to show you how certain things can be done. I have this live stream right now on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube and Instagram. However, if you watch this on Instagram, then if you have a question, go to one of the other outlets, because I cannot see the chat that is coming from Instagram. From Twitch, from YouTube and from Facebook, I can see it just fine. And the moment this stream is ended, I will create an index on the YouTube channel, and there you can find all the previous Ask Me Anything live streams as well. And in that index you find the contents of this entire live stream, so you can easily navigate it. Everything is not monetized anymore. I switched off the monetization, which means this should be commercial free on your end. Reason for that is I just got a few bucks, like 50 or 60 bucks a month from YouTube. And that's not worth the bother of having commercials on a channel. The downside of not having commercials, however, is that the YouTube algorithm is not pushing my videos that hard, because YouTube is not making any money out of it. So if you like what I'm doing and you want to support me, then first of all, please tell your DJ friends, but second of all, give the video the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe and all that other good stuff to show your appreciation. Because that's the only way that we can make this grow and make this community grow. Before we dive into this week's show, let me say a quick hello to everybody that is already with me in the chat. And for that I switch to this cam. And let's see who is with me already. DJ Matt Official, good evening 𝗵𝗲𝗄. Hope all is well with you. All is fine here, Matt, and good to have you with me. Oh, yeah, there you go. Doe the DJ, one of the other regulars, another fine Tuesday. Big ups 𝗵𝗲𝗄 and friends, big up to you, Doe. Appreciate you each and every week. And the same goes for Javaman Sanchez. 𝗵𝗲𝗄, how are you? I am doing great, thank you, Javaman. I hope the same for you. Gerald Beck, good evening from Vienna. Good to have you with us, Gerald. SMB, what's popping 𝗵𝗲𝗄? I will tell you that in a moment, and I see that SMB has a question for me too. If you got a question for me, put it in the chat. I will give a heads up when I'm about to close the stream, so you can say to me in the chat, listen, I've got a question, so that I don't accidentally close the stream and then your question pops up. Eddie Broom, another of our regulars, welcome to the stream, my friend. Good to have you with us. And there's SMB already with a question, following question, and would appreciate any help. In Algorithm DJ Pro Mac, I am not quite understanding how the function relink missing files in my collection. To be honest, I haven't played with that SMB, but hey, we will have a look with that. But I don't think that algorithm has an auto relocate. What that means in layman terms is when you change the file path to the audio file, then there is a chance that djay cannot find it and you have to tell djay where the audio file is stored. I don't think there's an automated process for that in place inside algorithm djay, like for instance Rekordbox has. So we have to look into that, but I'll have a look with you later on, because this will be, once again, a djay-centric live stream. I got a couple of questions from djay users, and we will dive into those questions within a moment. By the way, those are also the only questions, so if you got a question like SMB has, then drop it in the chat and I'm happy to help you with it. But otherwise, usually I'm very pragmatic with this kind of stuff. It's not like we have a talk show here, so the moment I went through all the topics that I want to discuss, we close the stream. However, we are going to start with something that is absolutely not djay related. But since we are all nerds, and I can say that loudly because I'm one of you, there is this thing called comics in the world. And I read comics since the moment I could read, basically. I read the old DC comics, the old Marvel comics. DC was my go-to. I liked Superman, I liked Batman, I liked Aquaman, Wonder Woman, all that DC IP was really my thing that I really liked as a little kid. Not that much for Marvel. I didn't feel much for the Fantastic Four. I didn't have feelings with Iron Man and stuff like that from the comics. Until Iron Man 1, the movie, came out, because I'm also a big movie buff. And from that moment on, I was sold on the Marvel IP as well, but not necessarily from the comics, but more from the movie side of things. And of course that Marvel universe expanded up to the moment that we had Endgame, which was like the big final of the first wave of Marvel movies. And that was all great. I really enjoyed each and every one of them. After that, it was kind of going downhill, with one exception, that's Guardians of the Galaxy. I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy, especially because I didn't know that IP at all. I never heard about Guardians of the Galaxy. So that was fun and a new thing for me. But lately I was pretty much disappointed by what was coming out of Marvel. I'm not a very big fan of all that multiverse stuff, because if you go multiverse, there is actually nothing at stake anymore, because in a multiverse you can always go back to another multiverse and correct things and stuff like that. And I like things to be at stake. So end of the world is end of the world, period, and not end of the world in a particular multiverse. And so I am not very high on that whole multiverse stuff thing, though I loved Spider-Man, the multiverse, but that was in the animated series and not necessarily in the real-time series. So this Wednesday I went to the premiere of Thunderbolts. I never heard about Thunderbolts. I didn't care less about Thunderbolts. I was disappointed by the recent Captain America: A Brand New Day video or movie. So I went to Thunderbolts with no expectations at all. And boy, was I wrong, because this sparked the love for basically Marvel within me again. If you have no idea what I'm talking about this movie, the Thunderbolts movie. I never heard about the Thunderbolts IP in the Marvel universe, but it is great. The storytelling is great. The silly jokes are there. The effects are marvelous, beautiful, and the whole storyline is great. It's not like it has all kind of plot twists and stuff like that. It's more like a comic. Just enjoy the ride that it gives you, and I did with this one. I gave it a 9. It gets almost an 8 on Internet Movie Database with 50,000 views or 50,000 votes, which is high for the Internet Movie Database. But if you are like me, a nerd, and if you were like me, let down by the recent slate of Marvel movies, go to see Thunderbolts. I can highly appreciate or highly recommend that to everybody out there. Let's see, there are some comments coming in about this as well. Gerald Beck, as a boy I was a big Superman fan, but I never quite understood why he wanted to be Clark Kent. Yeah, that's one of the very strange questions of life, Gerald. I never got it either, and I really never got that Clark Kent disguise like I'm Superman now, and now nobody recognizes me, not even if they are a journalist, because now I'm Clark Kent. I never got that, but it is what it is. I enjoyed Superman comics as a kid tremendously. Darukas, my friend, is in the building, and Eddie Broom saw it as well, and he loved it too. It is really one of the surprisingly good movies, and that's why I bring it up. I did it with June, and after that I had Chris Liebing on as a guest, and I do it with this one, with Thunderbolts, because it is so worth it. Another movie that is supposed to be worth it, but I still have to see it to my shame, is Sinners, and that will be next on my list most likely this week. Darukas, isn't it amazing how good a Marvel movie can be when the story is the focus and not woke agenda? Well, Darukas, we can argue about that, because I think there were pretty much woke things inside this one as well, and I don't mind that. I don't mind it. It's the sign of the times. It's the times we are living at. As long as it is not in your face, front and center, then I'm totally fine with that. But this movie was great, and that's all I can say about it. The other thing I wanted to speak with you guys about is a little bit DJ related. In the Netherlands we had this very huge music retailer called Bax Shop. You might have heard me talk about them, because I was very close with the employees there, with the management, the CEO and everything. Recently I went to their site, because usually around this time of year they have like an open house, and normally I do a masterclass there and stuff like that. So I was thinking, hey, let's go to the Bax site and see what's happening there. And let me show you how that Bax shop site looks like right now, because it looks like this. So nothing out of the ordinary, nothing strange going on, with one exception: you cannot buy anything. It's impossible to buy anything. You cannot order anything from their site. And well, it is what it is. Maybe they had a problem, maybe they got hacked, I don't know. And then I found out just this weekend that they went bankrupt, which is sad. And I know that bankruptcy happens a lot around the globe with these kind of superstore things, because these guys were big. They were really big. Not just in the Netherlands, that they shipped all over Europe, but they were by far the biggest musical retailer in the Netherlands, a bit like Guitar Center is in the US, and that went bankrupt as well not too long ago, and also made a restart. And there is talk that it is going to be restarted. Why am I mentioning this? Just to keep in mind that if you have very big purchases for DJ stuff, better make sure that the person or the organization you buy it from is credit worthy and going to deliver. So do your homework. Please do your homework, because all those people who ordered an AZ from the Bax shop most likely lost their money, or at least a great deal of their money. And if they didn't lose it all, then that will maybe come back within the next year or so, because that's how long a bankruptcy usually takes to unravel. So keep in mind, if you buy stuff from a retailer, especially online, that you know who you are buying from. And this was like, for me, a thunder at a non-cloudy, at a sunny day, because I didn't see this coming at all. But hey, I'm not their accountant. Let's see, what else do we have? Daruka, Superman conceals his identity by vibrating his features, subtly distorting them. Yeah, yeah. I still don't get the metrics about it. However, I'm looking forward to the Superman movie that is coming out this year and is supposed to be great as well. But I already had my happy surprise this year with the Thunderbolts. So let's see what's happening what's more in stock. And then we are going inside the realms of why we are all here, and that is talking about DJ stuff. And like I said, this will be a little bit of an algorithm DJ centric show, because the two questions I got in advance are both based on algorithm DJ. Let's start with the very important one. Let's start with SMB's one. So let's do a little bit of testing here, and let's see what we can come up with. So here's my algorithm DJ. I'm not sure if there is anything in it, but you know what? I'm going to just reset my algorithm DJ collection so we start from scratch. Bear with me for a moment. And that's that. And then let's fire up DJ Pro. There we are. And that's weird. Didn't I just... Hold on. That's the one I want to reset. And now let's see what we can come up with. All right. Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the iTunes. I think I have stuff there. I shouldn't have stuff there, but that's correct. I was looking at the wrong part. So let's add a playlist, and let's call the playlist test. And I do this in the simple ways, SMB, which means I take some test tracks like this. Let's, for good measures, analyze the tracks. And then let's... Why is this always happening during my stream? And then let's load up a track. This is the disturb track, and it has some cues. Okay, I'm happy with that. Those are Serato cues as far as I can see. Yeah, those are Serato cues. You can tell by the fact that they are a little bit misaligned. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide those tracks. They came from this folder, test tracks. So if I name that test tracks number 1, I change the file path to the audio files, and algorithm DJ should be unable to find them unless they use a trick. So I'm not sure if they use a trick, so let's see. Yeah, they use a trick. They use a trick for sure. So in the Finder, let me see. Yeah, there it finds the correct track. All right, they use a trick, and that trick is the same trick, by the way, that iTunes uses, that as long as you move tracks around or change file paths of tracks, and those tracks are stored on a Mac native formatted drive, and my hard disk is APFS formatted, which is Mac native, it will automatically find them. Lucky enough, I have an external drive here called Untitled, and let's move the test tracks to there. And then boldly remove this. So what I did, I moved them to a different volume, and that means that there's no way in hell that algorithm DJ can find those tracks again. So let's see what happens. And you can already see that it cannot find them because they are now grayed out. And what happens if I try to load them? Then I can say indeed what SMB was saying, relink missing files. That means I have to, you have to say where it has to search. All right, that's interesting. Well, we know where it has to search, so I take away the music folder because I don't want it to search in the music folder, and then I put this little plus there, and I'm going to tell where everything is stored. And we know where it's stored because it's in this folder. So I say open, and I say search, and I say apply changes. And then we are good to go. So that SMB is how you can relink tracks to a location where it can be found. Let me do that again, just that you get an idea. So let me take the test tracks and put it back on my desktop, like this. And then let's remove it from the Untitled drive, like this. So again, djay will have a problem here because it cannot find the audio files. Somehow it can find them. That's smart. Maybe it keeps both locations available. Oh, that's smart. But that's a djay feature. So let me do that again and let me put them on this and let me empty the trash. And I did rename that folder just for fun and giggles. See what happens if I can hide them. I can hide them for sure. Ah, you see? Now it cannot find them again. So then we can say, let's take one track that it cannot locate. Then we can say relink the missing files. Take away this one, unless your tracks are stored there, but I like to be very specific if I use auto relocate in general. If that is in Rekordbox, if that's using the engine prime cleaner, I like to be specific where the software can find the audio file. So that's not in music, so I take that off. And then I click the plus sign and I tell it that everything will be in the test tracks folder. So search there, apply the changes, and we are once again good to go. And if I ask it to show me the track in the Finder, it will find it at the, let's see, where am I looking at? There it is, there it is, there it is. That's weird. Why don't I see the full file path? Title, yeah. I must be missing something. But if you want to see the file path, the easiest way I always do is this. Open an empty document in TextEdit. Go to, you can do that right here, to flat text, which is make plain text, Shift-Command-T. I usually use the shortcut. Then if you put it in there, you can see that volumes untitled. That means the file is indeed on the external drive, exactly what you want it to be. So, hey, you can indeed relink and do that SMB, and that will work fine. Mark Smart, welcome to the live stream, my friend. Good to have you with us. The next question I got was also djay related, and for that we are going to deep dive a little bit further. And that question came from 𝐺𝗵𝗃. Let me get that and put it in the live stream so everybody can read it like this. And then let me read it for you guys. I want to use djay Pro on 2 different MacBooks with varying controllers. I wonder if you could provide the best practice to organize the library. I do not want to depend on streaming services and prefer actual files. But I'm open to using whatever is the best solution, be it an external disk, a flash drive, or cloud services. It would be great to have your advice on this topic. Also, how would you handle backups? Okay, well, there's a lot in this question that we need to unravel, and we will do that in a moment. But the fact that he said he doesn't want to use streaming services, just audio files, is the really complicating factor here. Because the moment you use real audio files, then the file path to the audio files, as we have just seen, needs to be identical. Needs to be identical to what it is in the normal collection. And for that, I recommend you to use what is called an external or an extra volume, and that volume is dedicated for your audio files. Now, before we deep dive into that, let me just show, 𝗁𝗏𝗏 is indeed there. This was the guy with the question. Let me show you what that means, a volume. Right here you see the terabyte, which is my file server, and that is a volume because the moment I get a track from the terabyte, so let me focus on this thing, test tracks on server, and let me get that text edit document again so I can show you the file path like this, and then let me drag just a random track in it, and you see right here that it says volumes terabyte 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗏. This is the path to the track, to the 𝐀𝐬𝗏 track. The reason why this is so important is normally if you have tracks on your local drive, so like this, I just copied it to my local drive and then I show you the file path. It says users filmpjes account 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗏. And that means that it is no longer a totally independent file path. This file path only works for the user named filmpjes account. It doesn't work for any other user. Now, if I have the identical users on both computers, there is no problem, but most of the time that is not the case. While when you have the tracks on an external volume, you don't have that problem. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let me take this test tracks on servers, and let me put it on that external drive. That was also the reason why that external drive was there in the first place. And you can see it did copy it. Now if I take again that 𝐀𝐬𝗏 track, this was the track, hold on. And you will see that it says volumes untitled. And I hear you think, hey 𝐵𝑋master, that's a different file path than this one is. That is correct. Now let me show you the real trick here. The moment I eject the terabyte and I rename this drive terabyte like this, and I drag the 𝐀𝐬𝗏 track on it again, you see that it finds it. In other words, if I take just this line, I go to the Finder, I say go to folder right here, and I paste that phrase right here, it can find it. So that is the beauty of using an external volume. Now that volume doesn't need to be a file server. That volume doesn't need to be an external drive. That volume can also be a partition you make on your internal drive of your computer. So for instance, I can make an extra partition on my internal drive and call that terabyte. And if I put everything there and I keep the structure the same, so how it is stored in playlists or how it is stored in folders and subfolders the same, it will find it. Now partitions are the old way of separating a drive. The new way is called volumes. Volumes require a drive to be formatted APFS+, and one of the benefits of volumes is that it doesn't eat away storage space. Usually if you make a partition, you must have in mind, alright, I will have 200 GB of audio files. I make my partition 200 GB, and after that you cannot shrink or make that bigger, or it is what it is, 200 GB, and it will eat those 200 GB from your regular storage space. Not so much with volumes anymore. A volume is dynamic. You just create a volume. If there's nothing on it, it will not use any space, and the moment you put stuff on it, it will take away the size or the storage for those items from the regular storage and put it on the volume storage size. So it is dynamic. It shrinks and it grows just how it is need to be. So if you want to do the smart thing here, you start up disk utility, and disk utility is in the utilities folder of any Mac. You go to your internal drive and there you can click volume and then create an audio volume, and that volume will be available anywhere and will act like an external drive. Now, that is one part of the equation, because now we have spoken about how you can put your audio files on an external drive, or let's call it an extra volume. But what do you need to do the moment you want to have the algorithm DJ data? And for that you have to take two things in mind. First of all, algorithm DJ uses a centralized database, and in that database everything is stored like playlists, like queues, like loops, and like all that other stuff. So what you need to have is that database also on that external drive, because that is something that you need to distribute. So how do you do that? You go to your home folder, that is the folder with the little house in front of it. Go to the music folder right here, and within the music folder you will have a folder DJ. And the moment you copy that over, that folder DJ contains, if you have a look inside of it, the DJ media library, which is the database which holds your playlists, your queues, your loops, and all that other stuff, and it has some backups. It can also have, if you use that, dedicated mappings of your MIDI controllers that you use. So in essence, that DJ folder in music contains everything DJ. I here think everything Mixmaster. Not quite everything. It doesn't have the analysis data. That analysis data, and now things are getting a little bit complicated, is stored somewhere else. Namely, if you go to library right there, and you need to press the Option key, the Alt key on your keyboard, otherwise it does not show library. You see me pressing it, and then it will show up, and then you can select it. Within library, click the little search bar and type in DJ, just like that, and say contains DJ and search within library. So it is searching for all the items named DJ within the local, and that's called user level library. Now if I click one of the items, you get the file path. It is a complicated thing. What you want to find is the word algorithm in it. And if you click that, like this, you will go to algorithm, and there you find all kinds of stuff. You find lists, you find other lists. This is very old, this is no longer being used, so I can safely put that away. That was used in the past. However, this is the interesting one, called metadata, and you need to copy that too. And on the other computer you need to do the exact opposite. So let me show you how that works. Did I have a playlist created in my collection? I think I had, with the test track in it. Yeah, you see this test playlist. Now let's pretend this is a new computer or a different computer. What I first need to do is I need to hide the DJ collection. So I can do that by renaming the folder DJ to DJ very old, like that, so it doesn't find it. If I start up DJ right now, you will see there is nothing there anymore, so everything is gone. You see, there is no playlist, or the collection is empty. It just creates a new one. So what you need to do is you copy this DJ folder to the music folder of the other computer. It will ask you to overwrite it, which is fine. And now if I open DJ again, I will have everything back, because essentially that's what we did. You see, there you are. The same needs to be done with that metadata folder. So again, in slow motion, under the Go menu in the Finder, press the Alt or Option key on your keyboard, go to Library, type the search bar, search for DJ, word contains DJ, within Library, click a random item, it doesn't matter which one. You want to search the file path for algorithm. There it is, algorithm. And then click the folder symbol in front of the word algorithm. That will take you to the metadata storage, and then copy metadata back. So that way you can move your entire DJ database and analysis data between various computers. And of course, the audio files were already on the terabyte, so that should work already. Let me show you, by the way, how great it is if you do it like this. So let me open DJ again. And then let's create test number 2, add playlist test number 2. And let's add some tracks from the test tracks on server, which are actually on the hard drive right now, on that external hard drive. Let's add these ones. So we've got these 3 tracks in test number 2. Let's quit djay here. Let's eject the drive. And let me mount my normal file server again. Which it is not doing, but let's do it like this. That should always work. There we are. And then start djay again. And if you go to test 2, even without the drive that originally contained the folders, you see everything works just fine. Gerald asks, can you soft link those folders? No, you cannot. You need to copy them over. Soft link, I think he means make an alias out of them. And let me show you what will happen, because hey, we are here to show stuff. So let me eject my terabyte again, and let me get my drive back, because that has yes, like this. And then let's go to music and let's remove djay, and let's make an alias out of the djay right here. You do that very quickly by pressing Shift Command Option, and you see that djay now is an alias, and if you double click it, it goes straight to the external drive. However, if I go to djay, then it says I cannot read it, so that won't fly. There is another possibility to do this, not using aliases, but using, what is the other word? But I would not recommend this. The best way in my book is to do this through the drive that already contains the audio files, because that's the safest way to do this all. Then the other question that Gerald had was, how do you back this up? That's easy. You use Carbon Copy Cloner. There is a tutorial for that in my YouTube channel. And if you make sure that all the data is copied to that external drive, then you can just Carbon Copy Clone that. Otherwise, you need to Carbon Copy Clone your startup drive containing the database stuff and the audio files separately. That is what I usually do. I have my Carbon Copy drives divided in 2 volumes. One volume is the startup drive of this particular computer, because this is my main computer, and the other is the terabyte, and I use 4 terabyte Samsung T7s for that, and I just Carbon Copy Clone everything over. First time you do that will take a long time. After that it will be very, very fast. I hope that answered all your questions, Gerald, and if not, just feel free to ask that. Mr. Mac, Mixmaster G, hello there, hope you're well, my friend. And hey everyone, Mr. Mac, good to have you with us, and welcome. The other question I received, or actually did not receive, somebody asked it in a YouTube comment under a different video, was mixed in key and algorithm DJ. I told you this would be an algorithm DJ centered stream, unless somebody has another question, of course. So here we go. There are a few things to keep in mind. First of all, mixed in key does not support algorithm out of the box, period. However, mixed in key does support Serato. And I hear you think, yo, but I don't want Serato installed on my computer, or I don't want to pay for Serato or stuff like that. That is not important. Serato stores the cues inside the audio files, and DJ can read those cues. In other words, if you have mixed in key and you enable it to go to Serato, you can store the data straight into that audio file. So let's do a little test here, and let me for that reason duplicate my test tracks folder, and then let's say let's go to mixed in key. Right there. I don't need to upgrade to Pro, get real. Alright, so this is variation 1. There are several other variations. Oh, there is even an update. Am I on mixed in key 11? Yeah, I'm on mixed in key 11. That's okay. I will do that later, my friends. And let's add the test tracks to the analysis, and it will kick in. It aren't that many tracks. Now, keep in mind that algorithm djay is not made for this, which means the cues that mixed in key is going to produce. Oh, hold on, I didn't check my preferences, so let me do that again. Hold on. Let's do that right away. You go to the preferences and you do something that I never recommend, but in this case, hey, because that was the question, go to your djay software and say that you want to tag it for Serato. Like this. And then I don't know if I need to reanalyze them, retag songs. And just to be sure, let's also do re-export cue points. And that should have done the trick. So if I go back to here, yeah, you can see by the dates that indeed it did something to those tracks, so that's what you want to see. Now let's go to djay. And mind you, I don't use Serato at all. I just do this plain and simple. And let's load up some track. And these are old cues. Oh, hold on, those are TCK cues. Let's see if we can override those by mixed in key, because all those tracks do have Serato tags, but those are coming from TCK, because those tracks did already have Serato cues. So let me double check in here. Serato override. Yeah, let's do this. That was what again, this is not what I recommend, but hey, it was a question, you get an answer, and this is the answer how to do it the easy way for free. So we did export the text again. Let's see if it did. Yeah, you can see that by the time of the audio files. Let's go back to djay. And let's take a random track. And there you got, indeed, the cues coming from mixed in key. So this is the easy, simple way. There is one caveat that you need to take in mind, or actually two. First of all, because this relies on Serato cues, cues can shift a little bit. That is the famous MP3 encoder shift. The other thing to keep in mind, if a track already has a single cue or a single loop in algorithm djay, then this will not work, because then djay will prefer its own cues over information stored in the audio file. So this only works for tracks that are not in your djay collection yet and that you want to add to it. And the other way you can do this is use the free version of Rekordbox in between and my tools to convert to it. And I'm happy to go into that as well, but maybe not today, because then you get a very complicated workflow. And if you don't need Rekordbox and you just need it to get the mixed in key cues, then this is by far the way to go. Let's see, what else do I have? 𝐀𝐬𝐤, your willingness to share and demonstrate your knowledge is so commendable. True gentleman. You're more than welcome, Mr. Mac, and thank you for the kind words. Very much appreciated. Gerald has a question. Did you mean creating a symlink? Yeah, with the yes. That's indeed what the word I was looking for. A symlink may work, Gerald, because symlinks are something different than aliases, but in general, symlinks don't work across various computers. So that's why I am a little bit reluctant to recommend that. But you can try that. You can try to create a symlink in the music library and then see if djay is okay with that. but again, it's not what I recommend. If you want to be sure, then the safest way to go is just copy those folders, and then you know exactly where you are at. That's also the reason why I don't recommend cloud services, because first of all, a cloud service is not an external drive, it is a folder on your computer, and that folder can have different locations on different computers, and for that reason it can break totally down. So no cloud services for me, and just copying the files makes you know exactly where your exit points are. This is also the last topic that I want to discuss, which means that unless there are questions for me, and if you got a question, then just type into the chat, yo, 𝐀𝐬𝐤, I have a question, and I will happily wait for that question to show up, if not too long, of course. And otherwise, we are going to close the stream for this week. However, of course, I will be back next week, same time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time, on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch, and even on Instagram, though I cannot see the chat from Instagram. For that you need to go to one of the other media, and happy to help you with that. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to give this video the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe and all that other good stuff. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I did disable monetization on all my videos. Maybe on some old it might still be on, but in general it is turned off and it will stay off, which means you don't see any commercials in these videos, which makes it a much better experience to watch them. But on the other hand, that also makes that the YouTube algorithm is not very favorable of my videos, which means I need you guys to spread the word. For now, thank you all for watching. 𝗷𝗲𝗄𝐻, have a great week and a nice evening as well. I hope to see you guys all next week. 𝐀𝐬𝐤 signing off.